Today I'll read a book called Mouse in Space in the Geronimo Stilton series. Let's go right into it. Two cheese brains in black masks. It was a dark, chilly, moonless night, and I was snoring contentedly under my cozy comforter. I was having the most fabulous dream. In my dream, I was floating in space, happily hovering over cream cheese asteroids, Swiss cheese planets, and mozzarella comas. Just as I was about to nibble on a yummy-looking cheese crater, something woke me up. I heard a click, like the sound of a lock being broken. Then I heard a creak, like the sound of a door opening. And finally, I heard a swoosh, swoosh, like the sound of muffled feet. Holy cheese! Someone was in my house! In a panic, I grabbed something to protect myself. Unfortunately, it wasn't a baseball bat. It was my slipper. Ras! Still, I forced myself to scamper into the living room. And that's when I saw them, two shadows in the dark. Ah! I yelled. Ah! Yelled the shadows. Ah! I yelled louder. I was so scared, my heart was racing. The shadows were looking more like mice wearing masks. Who were these intruders? What did they want? Money, jewelry, a homemade Swiss cheese sandwich on right? I'd have to wait to find out. A moment later, I fainted. Clunk! I woke up the following morning when a ray of sun hit me in the eyes. With a groan, I sat up. Then I rubbed my head where an enormous lump had formed. Who am I? Where am I? What time is it? Why aren't I in my bed? And why do I have an enormous lump on my head? I muttered. Then I tried my best to answer myself. Well, my name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton. I'm the editor of the Rodents Gazette, the most famous newspaper on Mouse Island. I'm in my house, and this morning, I answered. I sighed with relief. At least the lump on my head hadn't turned me completely clueless. A few seconds later, everything came rushing back to me. The two shadows snealing around my house the night before, grabbing my slipper, fainting. Had anything been stolen? I ran to check on Hannibal, my little red fish. I gave him some of his favorite food, and he slapped his tail in greeting. He was as frisky and cheerful as ever. Then I checked my collection of antique cheese rings. I'm very fond of them because I found each ring one by one in antique shops all over New York City. Not one was missing. Phew! I began opening drawers and cabinets to make sure everything was where it should be. Carefully, I pawed through it all. My favorite books, my ties, a cheddar-colored sweater from my aunt Sleeper, a painted rock from my dear nephew Benjamin. Luckily, everything was in its place. I was so happy. The intruders didn't take any of the things that meant the most to me. I didn't really care about my money. But even that was all there in my wallet on a table in the living room. How odd! If nothing was stolen, then what did those two cheese brains in black masks want? Why did they run off? Suddenly, it dawned on me what had happened. I held up my slipper and screamed. I had scared them away. That's right, Geronimo Stilton, biggest scaredy mouse on all of Mouse Island, had sent those rotten cheese brains running. I couldn't believe it. I was a true hero. I couldn't wait to tell everyone. I scampered to the bathroom and began getting ready for work, happily whistling to myself. I looked at myself in the mirror. Yes, I decided, I did look stronger and prouder. In fact, you could see I looked hero-y. I was so busy staring at myself in the mirror that I hadn't heard the phone ringing. I picked up after the 10th ring. It was my grandfather, William Shortpaw. Grandson, what are you doing? Why didn't you pick up the phone sooner? I refused to be kept waiting. Get your tail in gear pronto. There was a ton of robberies in the city last night, he screeched. I know, Grandfather. Last night, 2 cheese brains and black mats broke into my house too, but I chased them away with a slipper. Oh, and then I fainted. But still, I was a real hero, I squeaked. Grandfather snorted. Slipper? Sure, those slippers can be very scary. Now listen, hero, get your fuzzy head out of your fairy tale book and get moving. We need to get the scoop on those robberies for the paper. I sent your sister, Tia, over to you with precise instructions. You need to figure out who's behind all these robberies. After you do that, write an ace article and have it on my desk by tomorrow morning. Got it? Now move it! He shrieked. I tried to interrupt, but Grandfather wasn't listening. Jeez, Niblets, he continued. If it weren't for me, the Rodents Gazette would be a complete mess. That's right. I'll tell you who the hero is. It's me. The next thing I heard was the dial tone. Arg. Crunch. I stared at the phone, feeling like my grandfather had burst my bubble. Oh, why could I never impress Grandfather William? I made up my mind that this time I was going to show him what kind of a mouse I really was. I'd write an article that was incredible, worthy of a prestigious editorial award, the best thing ever written. Well, okay, maybe not the best thing ever written, but you get the idea. It would be great. While I waited for my sister to arrive, I showered, dressed, and began to make myself breakfast. I opened the cabinet and took out a box of frosted cheesy flakes and some blue cheese yogurt. Yum! Then I decided to treat myself to one of the delicious cream cheese breakfast cookies I buy for special occasions. As my mouth watered, I stuck my paw in the jar and pulled out a cookie. Then I took a bite and crunch! I nearly broke my tooth. So much for soft cheese. Hidden in the middle of the cookie was a strange metallic shoe which held a strange note inside. The note was signed by my secret agent friend Ook, but it was addressed to somebody named Ook. Ook name: Cornelius von Kickpaw, code name Ook. Profession: secret agent for the government of Mouse Island. Who he is: Geronimo's friend from elementary school. How he became a secret agent: no one actually knows how Cornelius became a secret agent. To the rest of Mouse Island, he is simply a wealthy mouse who loves art and racing cars. In reality, he works undercover, leading dangerous missions throughout the road. Accessories: he always wears a super accessorized tuxedo and sunglasses, even at night. Interesting fact: he always finds bizarre and mysterious ways to communicate because he doesn't want his message to get intercepted. Ook name: Geronimo Stilton. Whole name: Ook. Profession: publisher of the Guild is gathered in part-time secret agent. How he became a secret agent: when the Mouse Island Secret Service Organization (MISSO) found out someone was planning to steal the Super Mouse Cup golf trophy, they used Geronimo to help catch the thief. Geronimo did such a great job cracking the case, he was made a secret agent. Interesting fact: he is a complete scaredy mouse and often faints when he's in danger. He's afraid of the dark, fast cars and those paw dryers in public bathrooms. They're so loud. My friend must have made a mistake. Perplexed, I muttered to myself, "Who's Ook? I don't know anyone named Ook." Then all of a sudden it hit me. I was Ook. A while ago, I had been involved in an adventure with Ook where I was made a secret agent. Ook was my code name. How could I have forgotten that? Immediately, I began to panic. What kind of mission did Cornelius have in mind this time? Was it dangerous? Would I make it out alive? Suddenly, my sister Tia burst into my kitchen. Oh, why did I give her my house keys? Quickly, I shoved the note in my mouth and began chewing. It really was made of sugar, but it was sticky and hard to eat. Sure, I mumbled. Do you remember? It happened in my adventure, the giant diamond robbery. Jerry, are you okay? You're acting weird, Tia said. I swallowed. Sorry, the secret. I babbled. Tia looked at me strangely. Okay, listen, Garykins. I don't have time for any of your quirks today, she squeaked. Last night there were oodles of robberies in Yuma City. They were all done by the same two cheesecakes in black masks. He stuck a photo under my snout. I squeaked. I recognized them. They tried to rob my house too, but I chased them away with my slipper. Your slipper? Strange, remarked Thea, but good for you, Jerry Berry. I always thought you were a total scaredy mouse. That's something a real hero would do. Too bad, though. Her voice trailed off. Too bad what? I squeaked. Thea didn't answer. She was nibbling one of my cream cheese breakfast cookies. I started to feel worried as Thea chewed and chewed and chewed. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Too bad what? I screeched. Thea swallowed and patted her mouth with a napkin. Finally, she said, too bad those two crooks will probably come back to your place to finish off the job. If I were you, Jerrykins, I'd sleep with one eye open tonight. Instantly, I felt sick. Mighty Mozzarella. Now I probably won't be able to sleep at all tonight, I squeaked. Good idea, Thea agreed. Now you'd better get to work. Grandfather wants you to write a Ratzer Prize-winning article for the paper. I've already got the headline. Hero Geronimo Stilton chases away cheese brains. After Thea left, I sat down at my computer, but I couldn't concentrate. I kept thinking of those two things in black masks. Would they come back tonight? Would they be mad? Would I live to tell the tale? Before I knew it, I was shaking. Some hero I was. Absent-mindedly, I stared out the window. That's when I noticed something odd. Overnight, enormous billboards had sprung up everywhere. There was even one right in front of my window. Afraid of thieves, protect yourself and your home with the best anti-theft device in Mouseland. Save Squeak 555-0111. Who would need an anti-theft device, I thought. Then I hit my forehead. I did. I dialed the number for Save Squeak. I was greeted by a recorded message. We are out of the office installing Safe Squeak anti-theft devices. Please leave a message. Your call will be returned faster than you can say squeak. I left a message. My name is Geronimo Stilton. I'm interested in having an anti-theft device installed. Please call me back as soon as possible. What service? I hadn't even finished squeaking when there was a knock at my door. I opened it and saw a tall, slender rodent with long blonde fur, a dark suit, and mysterious black sunglasses. I noticed a Safe Squeak pin on her jacket. Below it in small print, the name Susie Slyrat. Good morning. I was stunned. What service? Safe Squeak really was fast. I welcomed Susie Slyrat and showed her into the living room. She gave me the most mesmerizing smile and showed me a comprehensive catalog with the most sophisticated anti-theft devices I'd ever seen. You were so smart to call us, Mr. Stilton, she said in a soothing voice, patting my paw. But of course, I can already tell you are a super smart mouse. Now you'll sleep like a log. You'll keep everything under control with our super satellite anti-theft devices. No thieves will get into your house again. And because you're our 1,000th customer, you will receive 3 pieces of equipment for the price of 2. In less than 10 minutes, Miss Slyrat convinced me to buy everything in the catalog for a fur-raising amount of money. Half-dazed, I repeated over and over again. Of course, Miss Slyrat. Thank you, Miss Slyrat. Do what you think is best, Miss Slyrat. Half-dazed, I repeated over and over again. Of course, Miss Slyrat. Thank you, Miss Slyrat. Do Do what you think is best, Miss Sly Rat. For some reason, I just couldn't say no to such a charming mouse. You'll sleep like a mouseling tonight, Mr. Stilton. But as you wait and see, she insisted as I handed over my enormous check. When I finished signing the contract, she grabbed the paper and quickly put it away. She made a phone call, and in less than 2 minutes, a team of Squeak workers took over my house. This is what they installed: 75 infrared sensors on the windows and doors, as well as on the cabinets and refrigerator doors. 93 detectors that would sense the presence of any living thing in the building. 38 cameras, at least 3 in every room. 1 security door, 13 electrified super rainforest shutters, and 7 huge eardrum splitting alarms linked to everything. Any mouse who wanted to get into my house now had to undergo digital paw print recognition, examination of fur, color and softness incorporated with anti-flea treatment, measurement of tail lengths, complete examination of whiskers, squeak recognition. Anti-theft devices installed in my house. 1. Infrared sensors, track every moment. 2. Motion and movement detectors, also zap bugs on contact. 3. Video cameras, record everything that happens everywhere. 4. Security color, senses every vibrations. 5. Electrified titanium super rainforest shutters, quiet, reliable, and absolutely shatterproof. 6. Giant ear-splitting alarm, so loud it can be heard even by ears stuffed with cheese. The entire system was connected via satellite to Safe Squeak headquarters, where system experts manned the system 24/7. When they left, night had fallen. I quickly wrote my article for the Rodents Gazette and emailed it in. I advised all of New Mouse City's residents to install some sort of anti-theft device to keep thieves away. Then, completely exhausted, I ate a cold cheese sandwich and headed off to bed. I'm so sleepy. Rancid rat hairs, that mouse was me. I fell asleep instantly. With my new security system, I felt super safe. Nothing would disturb me. Boy, was I wrong. At 11 p.m., one of the ear-splitting alarms went off. Wee! I terrified, I crept out to my living room. Were the thieves back? No, it was just my fish, Hannibal. His hiccups had triggered the alarm. Cheese niblets, that alarm was sensitive. At midnight, the high-voltage titanium super rainforest shutters began going up and down, making a fur-raising sound. Terrified, I wondered who was there. Then I realized that a pigeon had flown by the windows and triggered the alarm. Cheese niblets, that alarm was sensitive. I stomped back to bed, but just as my head hit the pillow, the shutters began going up and down again, this time because a bus drove past. When I tried to stop the shutters, they slammed down on my tail. Ouch! I got up at dawn, totally exhausted. I shuffled down the hall as the hum of the cameras followed me every move. Without paying the least attention to the video cameras. I scratched my tummy, stretched, made a hippopotamus-sized yawn, and then, yes, I admit it, picked my nose. After a second, I remembered my manners and stopped. Even though I was all alone, I turned red. Whoops! I was glad no one could see me. A few minutes later, I turned on the television to catch the morning news. The TV commentator announced, and now an exclusive on the live was wild apes. A mouse popped up on the screen in pajamas, scratching his tummy, stretching, yawning, and picking his nose. Rancid rat hairs, that mouse is me. I gasped in horror, staggered in shock, and flushed with embarrassment. They had aired my every action recorded by the anti-theft cameras. I grabbed the phone to complain to the mice at Safe Squeak, but after 10 rings, their answering machines kicked on. Our office is closed. Please leave a message or call back when you're open. Beep! I was so angry, steam poured out of my ears. While I waited for the office to open, I decided to cheer myself up by making a yummy breakfast. I looked at the TV screen again as the TV reporter sputtered. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We now return to our regularly scheduled program on Wild Apes. But instead of monkeys, the screen showed Belinda Fuzzy Paws, the mayor's wife, with rollers in her fur. She was followed by Samantha Tattletale, the gossip reporter in a bathrobe with cucumber slices on her eyes. Finally, Sally Ratmousin, the publisher of the Daily Rat and my rival, was shown exercising in a ridiculous pink tutu. I have to admit that I cracked up when I saw Sally in her tutu, but then I remembered the shots of me picking my nose and stopped laughing. Just like the video of me, I bet that footage was from Sally's new Safe Squeak anti-theft camera. But why was it on TV? I thought as I put cereal in a bowl, then poured lots of milk. I love soggy cereal. Quiet, he repeated. Then he turned his head toward me and let out a loud squeak. He had turned his head 180 degrees. It was then that I realized something truly terrifying. The driver wasn't a real mouse at all. He was a robot. I gulped. Let me out. Oh, how did I end up in these fur-raising situations? Let me out, I insisted. But nothing happened. Instead, my driver said, Sorry, Mr. Stilton, the route has been set. Secret mission is about to commence in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Click! The stun words flashed on the screen in front of my seat. Urgent messages from Ook. Stop screaming. You're on a secret mission. Get control of yourself. Put on the clothes that are under the seat. See, now you don't have to be embarrassed about those silly pajamas. Our secret automated transportation system will take you directly to MISSO headquarters. MISSO as in Mouse Island Secret Service Organization, but also as in Move It, Scaredy Snout, or else. I did as I was told. In just a few minutes, I was out of my cheese slice, PJs, and dressed in a trench coat and bow tie. I must say, I was feeling pretty cool. Some special secret agents gagness. Bow tie, when loosened, become a rope. Belt. Doubles as a harness for a quick getaway. Video phone with X-ray viewer. Anti-cast signal that detects felon variables. Pocket and inflatable boat. Fountain pen with microphone. Binoculars, glasses, double as night vision goggles. Wristwatch with micro movie projector. Shoe heels with hidden lock picking tools. Shoe heels with hidden lock picking tools. Shoe heels, soundproof and anti-gravity. Case of very pesky microfreeze. Anti-cat vest. Chamomile concentrate sleeping powder. One with sneezing powder. I mean, I know that they say clothes don't make the mouse, but as soon as I put on my secret agent clothes, I felt better, stronger, smarter, taller, and much more courageous. Not bad. I checked my appearance in the rearview mirror. Not bad, I said to myself as I adjusted my bow tie. I was practicing a slight wink and feeling confident when the limo screeched to a stop. I was catapulted toward the front. Hey, watch it, I cried, and faced the driver answer. Sorry, Mr. Stilton, the route has been set. It is not possible to modify it. End of ride. Goodbye. Without warning, the seatbelt unbuckled and the mechanical arm grabbed me by the jacket and threw me in a bin filled with stinky garbage. The bottom of the garbage bin opened and I fell down. A secret is a secret. I slid down a strange, transparent plastic tube for what seemed like forever until I landed on my tail on a very hard marble floor. Bam! Ouch, that hurt! Judging from the stench of fish and from the bin full of smelly bones. I figured I was somewhere under New Mouse City's port. I can't tell you more than that. Otherwise, what kind of secret agent would I be? A secret is a secret. I started wiping stinky garbage off my coat and picking it out of my fur when I noticed the room was full of rodents all dressed like me. That's right, they are all secret agents. This old secret headquarters. One of the rodents had huge square shoulders, strong muscular arms, and, of course, was wearing his dark sunglasses. I recognized him immediately. It was my friend Cornelius von Kickpaw, otherwise known as Ook. Cornelius showed me a small smile, or was it a smirk? I shook his paw. It's great to see you, Ook, I stammered. Then I noticed the mouse standing next to him and my fur turned beet red. It was his charming sister, Oof. Before I could say hello, Ook shook my paw, almost crushing it. Welcome, Ook, but enough with the small talk. Let's get to work, he said. Everyone sat around a crystal table facing a gigantic screen. At the head of the table sat MISSO's chief secret agent. The situation is grave, very grave, he said in a serious tone. Everyone nodded. I started to nod too, but then I realized I had no idea what he was talking about. So I asked timidly, why? What happened? The whole room turned and looked at me as if I had two snouts. The chief just laughed. Very funny, Ook, he said with a wink. Of course you know I am talking about the wave of thefts in the city and the strange anti-theft satellite devices that have been planted everywhere. Something terrible was terrorizing New York City. As soon as I heard those words, I started to shake with fright. We have to do something right away, I squeaked. Suddenly, the enormous plasma screen in front of us turned on. A masked, menacing, ugly figure appeared. Rodents of New Mouse City, you're in my power. The figure declared in a deep, evil voice. I can control all the alarm systems, all the information, and all the communication systems in New Mouse City from a secret satellite. And don't bother trying to look for it. You'll never find it. I started to feel worried, but the figure wasn't done talking. You have 1 week to get me a mountain of solid gold coins. The mountain better be as tall as a skyscraper, or there'll be trouble. Then he burst out in a chilling laugh. Mwahaha. The screen faded to black as his laughter died. The chief announced, Ladies and gentlemen, as Fearless Ook said, we have to do something right away. Who wants to go with him? Fearless Ook. I puffed up my fur with pride. Fearless Ook. Nobody had ever called me that before, but then I remembered what the chief had said about me going somewhere. I had a feeling he wasn't talking about a trip to the Slice Rack, my favorite pizza place. Just then, Ook exclaimed, I'll go with him. An instant later, I smelled a sweet perfume. It was Ooze. She sat next to me and declared, I'll go too. I was about to ask where we were going when the chief agent rose and said, Great, it's all settled then. You'll leave as soon as you finished training. The launch is expected in exactly 36 hours. Good luck! With that, he pressed a button, and before I knew what was happening, our chairs began to sink underneath the floor. We landed in a strange room filled with strange machines. A tall mouse greeted us. Here we go, help! We're off! I'm Professor Astrofur, and this is my assistant Minifer. You'll be in charge of your training for the launch. Just step over here. What? Launch? I squeaked, looking around wildly for an exit. Ook rolled his eyes. Please, don't embarrass me, he said. Remember, you're an MISSO agent now. MISSO as in move it, scaredy snout or else. I cringed. I prefer MISSO as in, maybe I should scamper out of here, I wailed. Just then I realized the charming Ooze was staring at me. Tried to remember the confident expression I had in front of the mirror the day before when I felt like a real hero, but I couldn't. Professor Astro first smiled and said, "Of course, Ook, let me explain. I'm talking about your launch on the spaceship Ratalo 16. All you have to do is find and disable the satellite that the evil masked rodent is using to control Numel City. And don't worry, you have exactly 35 hours and 35 minutes before the launch. The countdown starts now." I would have cried, but instead I passed out. MISSO secret headquarters. The fourth floor meeting room, third floor medical examination room, laboratory, second floor control room, underwater tanks, first floor laundry room, space simulators. Or they might be the basement room, I don't know. I'm a hopeless case. I quickly opened my eyes because Ook was slapping me silly while Ook fanned me with her scented handkerchief. "You can do it, Ook," Oof insisted. "Just think of all those poor rodents who are in danger. It's up to us to help them." Oof was right. Even though my heart was pounding out of my throat, I had to pull myself together. I got up with my head spinning. Then I said, "Okay, I'm ready. What do I have to do?" The professor grabbed my sleeve and dragged me away before I changed my mind. "Okay, Ook, come along," he said. "You'll be starting a super concentrated program of super training to become a super astronaut." But what about them?" I stammered. "They're already trained," he explained. And that's when the problems began. First, they gave me a medical exam. I was surrounded by a bunch of rodents in white coats who examined me from the top of my ears to the tip of my tail. Afterward, they shook their heads and whispered in astonishment, "Wow, he's a mess. I wonder if he'll make it. Squeak, what a disaster." A doctor came bounding in the room, waving the results of my exam. "Gentlemen, the results are clear. Agent Ook is a complete mess. He's a hopeless case," he declared. At that point, I tried to make a quick getaway. "Did you hear that?" I screeched. "I'm a hopeless case. I don't have what it takes to be an astronaut. So adios, hasta la vista, see you later, and thanks to all." The doctor stared at me with horrified expressions. They wanted me to swallow a pill that was almost bigger than me. The shake had a disgusting taste. I ran as fast as I could, but they still got me with the syringe. Ouch! But the professor grabbed me by the tail. "Where do you think you're going?" he said. "The chief says we have to get you in shape and ship you into space." And no one argues with the chief. "Don't worry, we'll fix you up." And boy, did they fix me up. They made me swallow a gigantic pill and a protein-rich shake. They even gave me a vitamin injection with a huge syringe. I screamed so loud they must have heard me all the way up on Mars. Then the situation got even worse. I began the super concentrated astronaut training. What an absolute and total disaster. Before I started, the professor explained, "In order to become an astronaut, you must be in excellent physical shape, and as far as physicals go, you're in bad shape. Have a degree in science, no creative types needed in space. Have an excellent knowledge of foreign languages, and made languages don't count. Not be afraid of anything, and I can bet my last cheesecake that you are afraid of anything. Have a great capacity to adapt." "Can you do all that?" "Adapt to what?" I asked. "Life in space, rookie," the professor squeaked. "Oh, and I forgot. It usually takes 3 years to train, but unfortunately you only have less than 2 days. So what? So you've got a right to know you might not make it back alive." I wanted to scream. I'm too fond of my fur, but I got distracted when we met Ook in the hall and she explained, "See you in space, Ook. You're a true hero." Hee. You're a hero. Once again, I tried to adopt the expression of a true hero, but all I could manage was a shaky smile. Yes, see you there, I stammered, but Ook was already gone. Why do I always get tongue-tied around pretty mice? I stared into the distance until the professor pinched me. "Wake up, no time for daydreaming," he squeaked. You've got work to do. First, you have 12 hours of training in the pool in full gear with your spacesuit. That's to try to teach you how to move in space. Though you're pretty clumsy, then you have 12 hours of parabolic flight to try to get you used to the absence of gravity, though you're already pretty slow. And 8 hours of simulated aerospace piloting to try to teach you to steer the spaceship, though you're so spastic. And that's it, I screeched. That schedule is impossible. What about a dinner break? No breaks, the professor said. How about lunch? I asked. Nope, he insisted. Snack maybe, or a little nap, I pleaded. Not a chance, he responded. There's no time to waste, rookie. Let's face it, you need all the training you can get if the chief wants me to somehow turn you into a super astronaut in 32 hours. Moving in space is very different from moving on Earth because of the total absence of gravity. Before leaving Earth, astronauts perform rigorous exercises in underwater tanks to simulate the feeling of weightlessness. Here's my 32 hours of power training. Let's look at more closely. 1. Pool training. I had to wear a spacesuit and repair a fake spaceship while floating in a pool. Slimy Swiss cheese, I felt as awkward as a sewer rat on top of a skyscraper. 2. Zero gravity training on a parabolic flight. I took a crazy flight on a plane. It flew upward. Then the pilot turned off the engine. The plane went into a free fall, and I began to float weightlessly. Then the pilot turned the engine back on, and the plane flew up again to repeat the cycle. Eek! I have a weak stomach. 3. Simulating flight. I had to simulate piloting a spaceship for 8 solid hours. The training program felt like a very complicated video game where I had to control a spaceship. At one point, I was even hit by a fake shower of asteroids. Yikes! Cheese niblets, the room is spilling. Blast off. 32 hours later, the professor squeaked. Okay, no more training. It's showtime. Completely panicked, I whined. But I'm not ready. Can't I train some more, maybe for another 200 or 300 years? The professor snorted. Nice try, he said. Now get moving. It's 3 hours until takeoff. Whiskers shaking, I hurried to the subterranean launching pad to meet Ook and Oof. They were surrounded by all of the MISSO agents and the chief. Agent Ook, we expected a lot from you. Go and return victorious, he bellowed. For the 3rd time, I tried to remember what the expression of a real hero looked like, but I couldn't. Even so, I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of the charming Oof, so I said, I will do my best, sir. I boarded Ratalo 16, took my seat, and buckled my seatbelt. Let's go. While the experts were finishing the last shake before takeoff, I tried to remain calm. This is nothing, I told myself. It's just like a ride at an amusement park. Too bad I hate amusement parks. After 1 hour, my head was pounding from the stress. After 2 hours, my stomach began flip-flopping like my cousin Springtail on a trampoline. After 3 hours, I was such a bundle of nerves I couldn't even remember my own name. Holy cheese, those were the longest 3 hours of my life. Finally, from mission control, the chief ordered, crew, lock your helmets and put down your visors. Activate all system. Ignition on. Blast off. There was a great roar. The super speed acceleration crushed us against the seas. Let me off, I squeaked. Sorry, Ook, Ook smirked. You're until the end of the mission. That is, if you're still alive at the end. Oof nodded. Speaking of the end, Oof, have you written down your last wishes? She asked. I mean, if you do croaks, do you want a fancy funeral? How about a nice marble statue of you dressed up like an astronaut? Marble would be nice, I said. You know, I wouldn't want anything cheap like plastic. Then I thought about what we were discussing and felt queasy. I gripped my arms off the seat. My head was spinning spinning. I didn't move a muscle for 1,000 hours. Well, okay, maybe it wasn't that long, but you get the idea. Then I heard Ook tapping my helmet. Knock, knock. Anybody there? I've got good news. We're in orbit, he squeaked. I opened one eye and saw Ook and Oof floating effortlessly in the cockpit. Look, Ook, isn't this an awesome sight? Oof exclaimed. I unbuckled my seatbelt and floated over to her. Even though I was still scared, when Oof held my paw, I immediately felt better. Together we stared out the window at the most beautiful sight I have ever seen. Planet Earth. Incredible. Wow. It's hard to describe how I felt up in space. I feel so small compared to the immense universe. I also felt so lucky to have all of my family and friends who were way down in New City. Right then I made a promise to myself. I would try my best to not be a scaredy mouse and to help with this mission. The solar system. The solar system is made up of 8 planets that revolve around the sun. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. There are 140 known moons ranging in size that orbit around many of these planets. And that, of course, meant stopping the evil rodent who was terrorizing the mice of New City. I smiled at Ook and Oof. Even though they are super cool mice, I could tell they were also impressed with our amazing view of the solar system. This calls for a toast, declared Ook. Let's have a snack now, and in a few minutes you'll start dancing. I gulped. I wasn't much of a dancer. I hoped I wouldn't embarrass myself in front of Oof. Meanwhile, Ook handed out boxes of cheddar crackers, condensed mozzarella milkshakes, and freeze-dried cheesecake. I was starving, but when I pulled the lid off the shake, it floated out of my paws and spilled all over the place. I told you we'd be dancing. After I chased my shake down and gobbled some freeze-dried cheesecake, I began to relax. Maybe the space thing wasn't so hard after all. I was getting used to floating, and the view was so spectacular it let me squeak less. At that moment, I felt as if I could do anything. I wondered when Ook was going to start the music. Maybe I was underestimating my dance abilities. Who knows? Ook might even be impressed. I was thinking I could try out some cool moves I'd seen once in a music video, but suddenly something crashed into my spaceship. My head hit the wall with a loud smack. Youch! After the first collision, there was another and another. Everyone to your station, Ook hollered. We're in the middle of a massive swarm of asteroids. I told you we'd be dancing. Asteroids are small rocky bodies traveling in space. They are found primarily between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Yikes, what a dance! We are bounced around the ship like ping pong balls. As soon as we could reach our seats, we buckled our seatbelts and tried to make contact with MISSO secret headquarters. Ratalo 16 here. Ratalo 16 calling Earth. Do you read me? Over. But the only thing we heard was this is Earth. Buzz, 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 danger. Buzz, over. Buzz. We didn't understand the thing. Well, anything except for the word danger. After that, the signal went dead. I was so scared my teeth were chattering up a storm. And for the first time since I knew him, even Ook looked worried. Communication has been interrupted, he said. The transmission went bad. From now on, we won't be able to receive instructions from the base. I chewed my whiskers. What do you mean? I stammered. Do you mean that we're alone? Abandoned in space? Ook avoided my eyes. Then he said, well, we're not exactly alone. We just won't be able to ask the base how to get to the evil rodent satellite. So we'll have to work independently to find and deactivate it before that cheese train takes over all of New City. I tried not to burst out sobbing. What did Ook take me for? Even the slowest rodent on the block knew that working alone and working independently meant the exact same thing. I forced myself to breathe deeply and remain calm. Suddenly I had a thought. Why can't someone go out and try to repair the communication system? I asked. Great idea, Ook exclaimed. You could go out and repair it while Ook and I manually pilot the ship. Immediately my paws began shaking. When I said someone could repair the system, I hadn't been squeaking about yours truly. But what could I do? The entire fate of New Mount City was in my paws. Before I could talk myself out of it, I put on my spacesuit, grabbed some tools, and floated off into deep space to fix the damaged antenna. Only a safety cable kept me tied to the ship. From inside, Ook gave me directions. A little higher, more to the right, a little to the left. That's it, you got it. Just remember to move slowly. And whatever you do, don't unhook the cable from the ship. If you do, you'll be lost in space forever. Lost in space? I try not to think about it. Instead, I concentrated on the antenna. I could already see that the mechanical arm that directed it was dented. It didn't seem too hard to fix. I just hit it with the hammer and be on my way. But just then I ran out of cable. I would have to unhook myself to reach the antenna. Very carefully, I detached the cable from the ship and tied it to the base of the antenna. Then I hit it with the hammer, and before I knew what was happening, I lost my grip and plunged into space. In the window of Rat Hollow 16, I could see my friends' horrified faces watching me. Why aren't they coming after me, I thought. Then I remembered Ook and Oov were trying to operate the spaceship without the computer's help. Maybe they weren't able to turn it around. Plus, my friends couldn't ask Earth for help. Oh, what a disaster! I wondered if my hammering had even been enough to fix the damaged antenna. Probably not. Now we were all doomed. Within 2 minutes, I was sobbing away like a newborn mouselet. I cried until my astronaut's helmet filled with tears. It looked like my little fish candy ball's crystal bowl. Just then I felt myself being pulled by a strange force toward an asteroid the color of cheese. How weird. Wait a minute. I got closer and closer to the asteroid until my tail hit something hard. Smack! Somehow the strange force had sucked me right onto the surface of the asteroid. How could such a small asteroid have such a strong force of gravity? But at the time, I didn't pay much attention to it. I was just very happy to feel a hard surface under my paws instead of drifting away in space aimlessly. In fact, I was so happy I bent to kiss the surface of that strange asteroid. As I did so, I made a wish to remain alive. Maybe a passing satellite would spot me and an expedition would be launched to bring me home. You never know. But then I noticed something strange. Right near me on the surface of the asteroid was a row of bones. Wait a minute, this wasn't a real asteroid. It was completely artificial. The force of gravity. The force of gravity, that is, the force of attraction of every object depends directly on its mass, the amount of matter it's made of. So it's quite unusual for an asteroid, which is much smaller than a planet, to have enough gravity to pull Geronimo with such force. There might be something fishy here. I began to get excited. Maybe this thing was actually a spaceship disguised as an asteroid. Maybe there was food on board. I was starving, and a communication system so I could send out an SOS. Maybe, just maybe, I'd be saved. Cautiously, I started to explore the fake asteroid. After a few steps, I fell snout first into a hole and zipped down a dark tunnel. I bounced down a set of stairs, ending up in what looked like a warehouse filled with boxes and strange machinery. Youch! I was massaging my bruised tail when the sliding door opened before me and the robot grabbed me with his mechanical arm. It dragged me away, croaking, "Intruder caught and imprisoned." It drew me inside a round room where two rodents were working in front of an enormous screen. "Thank you, our 51, R-51. You can go now, said the rodent. Then he turned toward me. Well, looky who the cat dragged and danced to our super gravitational simulator, he sneered. When he turned toward me, I recognized him immediately. It was the same rodent that had appeared on the screen at MISSO headquarters. First demanding a pile of gold and threatening to take over the city. Next to him sat Susie Slyrat, the mouse who had told me the safe squeak device. So you are the two cheese brains who broke into my house, I shrieked. How dare you? The name's Dr. Wicked with whiskers, but everyone just calls me Mr. Dr. Wicked, the mouse announced. And you can scream all you want, but it won't help. My genius plan is almost done. First, I terrorized New Mouse City's rodent with a series of robberies, and I sold them satellite anti-theft devices from SafeSqueak. Once I did that, I gained control of all the computers in New Mouse City. In exactly 22 hours and 15 minutes, I land in New Mouse City and pick up the mountain of gold that your foolish friends put together for me. But that's not all. Look! With a smirk, he went to a keyboard and typed a series of numbers and letters. A second later, words appeared on the screen. Mega Vortex activated, remaining time 24 hours. As soon as I have escaped with my mountain of gold, the Mega Vortex will clean out all New Mouse City's bank accounts and destroy all communication and information systems. That way, I'll have a clean getaway. Oh, I almost forgot. In 24 hours and 30 minutes, you will be pulverized and I'll be rich, very rich. Susie Slyrat grinned. Daddy, you're a genius, she squeaked, kissing him on the snout. Thanks, Dr. Wicked chuckled as he tied my legs so I couldn't run. Just then a robotic voice rang out in the room. Auto satellite destruction in 24 hours, 11 minutes, 30 seconds. Let me go, huh? SOS. The robotic voice continued to ring out at regular intervals, making me squirm each time. How did I get myself into such a mess? I had to do something, and fast. Suddenly I had a fabulous idea. I began pounding against the metal walls. Bang, 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 bang. 3 short sounds, then 3 long, then 3 short. That was the SOS message in Morse code, a distress signal for help. Morse code is a system of communicating textual information with an alphabet of dots, dashes, and spaces. It is transmitted with a series of on-off tones or lights. I continued sending my message for hours and hours. Finally exhausted, I sank to the ground and fell asleep. No one could hear me. I was all alone in deep space. I tossed and turned and had terrible nightmares. I even dreamed that a Martian was tapping my forehead with its slimy tentacles. Tap, 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 tap. The tapping continued on my forehead until I woke up with a start. Was this it? Was this the end? Was I about to be eaten by a ferocious Martian? But when I opened my eyes, instead of a Martian, I saw Ook and Oof. Was I still dreaming? I pinched myself to make sure. Youch, I will. That hurt. I could hardly believe it. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't going to be Martian meat after all. My friends had come to save me. I jumped up. Ook cut the rope tying me. Tap, tap. How did you find me? I squeaked. It was all down to you, Geronimo. You repaired the antenna. The base was able to communicate the position of that cheese-brain satellite, and we came immediately. We thought you were a goner, Ook exclaimed, looking away. I could tell he was choked up. Even though Ook is a tough mouse, he's a really softy at heart. Ook went on with the story, grinning from ear to ear. As we were exploring the satellite, we heard someone tapping at regular intervals. We knew it had to be an SOS. Then we just followed the signal and here we are. I was so happy, I almost forgot we were still in danger. Just then a robotic voice announced, Auto satellite destruction in 4 hours and 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Sadly, I explained the situation. We're doomed, I sighed, but Ook clapped me on the back. Don't be pessimistic, Agent Ook, he said with a teasing smile. After all, we are from MISSO. As in mouth, I swear, suck it up or else. My friend was right. No use getting discouraged. Well, what are we waiting for, I said, returning Ook's smile. Let's go. Ook sprang into action. Leave the mega vortex to me. I'll take care of deactivating the program. I don't mean to brag, but I'm the best programmer in all of MISSO. Then she sat down at the computer and started tapping away. Meanwhile, Ook and I went to find and deactivate the auto-destruction device, but we couldn't locate it. Rat-munching rattlesnakes, what a pickle we were in. Just thinking about pickles made my stomach growl. I was starving. I'd give my left paw for a nice bowl of mac and cheese, I thought. Well, okay, maybe I wouldn't really give away my paw, but you get the idea. There was no time to think about food, though. We only had 1 hour left. We went back inside, hoping Oof had better luck, but she looked upset. It's almost done, but there's a block. I need the password, but I don't know what it is, she cried. Just then, I took a step forward and accidentally tripped over my own feet. Ack! I lost my balance and thrashed my paws around like a windmill before falling onto a swivel chair. It felt like I'd just been shot out of a cannon as I catapulted on the chair across the room. I rolled forward and landed snout down on the keyboard in front of Oof. She jumped up with a scream. Ah, oops, I whispered. The computer buzzed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. No! Flashing words appeared across the screen. Mega Vortex program deactivated. I couldn't believe my eyes. Somehow, my snout smacked into the keyboard. I had pressed the right keys for the password. Ah, oops. The Mega Vortex program was deactivated. Dr. Wicked's plan had failed. Humel City was safe. We were just starting to celebrate when a robotic voice sang out in the room. Auto satellite destruction in 0 hours, 15 minutes, 0 seconds. Ook pushed us toward the door. The auto destruction program was not deactivated. We need to get out of here right away, he instructed. Everyone to the spaceship, now. Just in time, we rushed out of the computer room toward Rat Hollow 16. Fortunately, the fake asteroid was small and we didn't have to go too far. Inside the spaceship, we quickly turned on the ignition and left. In a few minutes, we were far away from the cheese-colored satellite. Holly cheese, we left just in time. We watched a tremendous explosion in horror. The satellite blew up into a million tiny pieces like Parmesan flakes in the sky. I was 10 and I realized that those tiny pieces could have been us. I was so relieved I let out a huge sigh, and then I fainted. I came to soon after and found myself belted to my seat. Oof was fanning me with her scented hanky. Wow, Oof, you're a real hero, she exclaimed. I was so embarrassed my fur turned 3 shades of red. But actually, I'm really a scaredy mouse, I said, and I just fainted. A real hero isn't afraid of anything. Not true, Ook insisted, floating up to us. Everyone gets afraid, Ook, but when we were able to conquer our fears, we are true heroes. And thanks to your heroic efforts, we were able to save Humel City. Just then I noticed the spaceship's TV screen. It was playing that nice news. A video showed a close-up of Dr. Wicked and Susie fleeing the city. Breaking news, the 2 cheese brains who have been burglarizing our fair city has left the island. Yes, folks, your gold is safe again, the announcer reported. Reliable sources tell us credit goes to MISSO's unknown heroes. From all of us here at Rat TV, we'd like to extend our sincerest thanks. Just then, Professor Astrofur appeared on the screen. Congrats, Rookie, he beamed. I really didn't think you could do it. I've never trained anyone who seemed like such a hopeless case. Then MISSO's chief appeared. Thank you, mice. Mission accomplished, he squeaked. We are proud of you, especially Ook. I never thought you'd make it out of this mission alive. Now, I would like you to open up the secret door marked AWTEW. Immediately, I began to panic. What did AWTW mean? I hope it wasn't another scary mission. I was so tired. I was dying to get home to my cozy mouse hole. Excuse me, Chief. Why do you have to open the door? I asked. Honestly, I was hoping to go home, relax, and get rid of all those noisy safe squeak anti-theft devices. The chief grunted. Don't worry, Oog. We had to removed. Now open the door, he insisted. With trembling paws, I pushed the button above the marked door. I heard a click and 3 mechanical arms shot out toward our suits, pinning on red cheddar Medals of Honor as speakers blared Yumel City's anthem. What does AWTW mean, you ask? I'll tell you. It means all's well that ends well. In fact, it couldn't have ended better than this. And that's the truth, or my name isn't Geronimo Stilton. Okay, that was the book I read. And if you want to see more audiobooks, please subscribe. And thank you for watching this long video, the chapter book 1. And I hope I can see you in the next one. Take care. And again, I appreciate it.